everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live from wherever you are around the world. And welcome to this session called Video Tips and Tricks. Now, before we start, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we live, create, and learn on today, paying respects to elders past, present, and emerging. My name is Chris Hansen, and I'll be your host for today. And joining me is my colleague, again, Senior Strategic Development Manager at Adobe, Jon Barrie. Welcome, buddy.
Hello. Thanks for joining us again.
Welcome back, should I say.
Welcome back. Yeah, well, it's 2 times in the same week.
Awesome.
Becoming a habit.
It is. But you know what? I'm actually really excited for today because there's been a couple of things that have happened in the last few days since our session on Tuesday, right?
That's right. We have had an update.
We've had an update.
Yeah, Premiere Pro and After Effects have got another major update. Just the other day, the US and Australia were part of the initial rollout regions. So Adobe does this thing where they roll out to a few different regions, and then over time of about 3 or 4 days, everyone around the world has then got the available updates. So we were fortunate enough to get it Tuesday afternoon, just after our session, actually, was the beginning of the rollout. And one of the new features that came in was integration into Frame.io. So we are going to dig into that, as well as a couple of other things with the user experience side of things. And it kind of overlaps a little bit of what we were talking about on Tuesday. And now there's some newer ways to go about doing similar things that we were doing the other day. So
I love it.
I think this would be cool.
So for those who tuned in on Tuesday, it would be more like a refresher, but also for those who are new, this is going to be pretty interesting because it's new for us and we're really excited to show it. But first, Jon, I just wanted to ask you, for those who are not familiar with Frame.io, can you just give us a brief description of it?
Sure. So Frame.io is a company that was acquired by Adobe late last year. They had developed a way to do a review and approval process using cloud. They've got their own storage, and they have an integration app that fits inside of a panel inside of Premiere Pro. So when you get these review notes of a video that someone else is watching and they play it, then they stop and they put notes in, it takes that time code, and you can actually draw on top of the picture as well to sort of highlight specific parts of the frame that you're referring to. The context of that then can synchronize to your working timeline inside of Premiere and your working comp inside of After Effects. So it's pretty handy to have this review and approval process. It all happens in real time. You'll see it. It's very cool. It's a comprehensive communication platform, I guess.
Yeah, I love that because you know what, like I'm sure many video editors out there can relate, but you know, getting feedback through email, perhaps Microsoft Word documents when it comes to timestamps, even WhatsApp, you know, these are the things that I've dealt with in the past, but Frame pretty much eliminates that because it will allow us to save a lot of time when it comes to review and approval processes.
Yeah. Like you said, people use different ways to communicate the notes. So they might describe something, but then you got to make sure you got the time code because point in time is relevant. And then sometimes you need a visual guide to what it is that you're talking about. So you might need to do a screenshot of that frame that you're mentioning. And yeah, if you're using something else to do it, it's quite a lot of work. So you'll see how simple and straightforward this is. There's a browser version that looks and feels the same as the integrated panel. And you can actually, on iOS devices, there's a dedicated app for it as well. So it's pretty good. And that's one of the bottlenecks of doing video production is you've got different people that have different approvals, stakeholders. You got people who are like maybe the producer and they're not with you, so they need to have notes. And you might be collaborating with someone else as well that might be doing the graphics side of things. They need to know what's going on. So,
awesome. I'm excited to see it. So why don't we jump in? What do you want to start with?
Well, I think the best thing to do is to just point out that the update has happened and you should be seeing certain number as far as the version, the build.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we're sharing my screen yet. I haven't got the.
Yeah, I think we are. We're sharing your screen. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm looking at the Creative Cloud desktop app right now. Oh, by the way, I'm on a Mac this time. I was on Windows last time. You know, I've got to share the love. And what we're looking at here is the all apps side, I don't know, panel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in here, I can see that I've already updated Premiere Pro. It says here up to date. And if I click on the 3 dots or ellipses for more actions, and I take a look at other versions, we'll see that the current version is actually 22.3.
So this is the update that people need to be on in order to get access to Frame as current, yeah?
That's correct.
Okay.
And the other user interface things that have changed, and
right.
All the other features as well. So just making sure that if you check your Creative Cloud desktop application, and if you've got any updates, you should sort of see some update numbers in there. Like there's a few other apps that I haven't yet updated. But yeah, it should be 22.3.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's go over to Premiere Pro. And when you launch Premiere Pro, you should see this new thing as you get through the first stages of launching. You'll get a tutorial link to go and look at Frame.io and start understanding how it works. You've got this Learn More page as well, which will give you some guides on how to go through and actually understand how it works, how to set it up, all that sort of stuff. But we're going to walk through it in real time with the application. So
awesome. Love this. I'm excited, mate.
Yeah, it's very cool. I was actually at an event last night and a lot of people were pulling me up and saying, oh, the frame thing, that's so cool. I just saw that come in the other day, blah, blah. So people keen to understand how it works. All right. Before we do that, I do want to walk through the new user interface because that's going to then play into how you get to the review user interface.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm going to start a new project.
Okay.
And
already that's different, right?
This is very different. Now, this has been inspired by Premiere Rush.
Right.
Okay. A lot of good feedback for people who are new to video. And Rush was designed for people who are new to video to have a very simple and understandable way of beginning to work on a project. And so that's inspired this new user interface.
Yeah, I love that because it was quite a simplistic approach to just selecting media, right? Like already you're naming your project straight away. I can see the location. I won't steal your thunder, but you go ahead.
Yeah. So basically you kind of start from the top left and you kind of work your way down and across and down. And there's quite a few different options here. So what we showed in the last part 1 of this series on Tuesday was using Media Browser to go through and find your material. You can still do that. That hasn't gone away. That's still relevant. This is a new way to begin, and it's really designed for people who are new. So if you're familiar with the older ways and you prefer that, it's fine. You can continue to do that. You can not bother going through this phase and just get started and away you go. But what you do get in here is where you're going to save it. So let's just save it in, I'll just put it in the default spot there. And on the left side, I've got all different locations that I might have media. I'll start in this favorites, which is something that I mentioned in the media browser. And you can just sort of add your own locations to this. So a simple way to go and do that is let's go into the desktop and take a look at.
Yeah, so you got a lot of folders there.
I do. Productions demo. Let's have a look at that. Okay. So I can see I've got my system, then the desktop, then the folder that we're in. Now, to make a favorite, you just click on the star.
Brilliant.
And now it's been added in.
See, that was in Premiere Rush. I remember that. So they've brought that functionality over here, which is great because I use that quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, so super simple. Before, what you had to do in Media Browser was right-click on something, then you got to choose from an option. It's just super simple, right? You just hit the star and it goes away or it goes on. Really, really straightforward. All right, what we're going to do though is use the sample media, because this will be the way a lot of people are introduced to Premiere Pro. Notice I am able to move my mouse over the top of these clips and it's scrubbing through, giving me a sample of what's actually happening. Now, what I'm going to do is actually going to make this a little bigger. Let's see, create a new project. Oh, here, so I've got my scroll here to make it bigger. So I got more context. Okay, this I want. Yes, sure, let's get that. Let's just click on it. And notice when I click on this, down the bottom here, it's starting to build out. As I click through, it's going to build out a little bit of this clip and that clip, and I can turn them on and off and rearrange the order. So it's based on the order of how I'm going through it. Let's make that a little smaller now. Cool. Now that's inspired by Rush as well.
Yes, it is, yeah. So I like that. So at any time you can obviously reorder that later on if you have to.
That's right. This is just bringing it in.
Yeah.
At the moment, we've got a checkbox here by default that says create new sequence. And it's going to make that sequence based on the first clip that was selected, whatever the parameters are. So that's the frame dimensions, the frame rate, and whatever the audio is doing there as well. But it will build that timeline for you. Or sequence is another name for timeline. That's
brilliant because, you know, getting like it's the steps that you need to think about how you used to do it, right? So you bring your media in, rearrange stuff, and then create a sequence based on something. But you're doing it all here before you even get into your project.
Yep. Now, if I wanted to select everything, I can use keyboard shortcuts. So Control A, bang, I've just selected everything in that folder.
Yeah.
If I wanted to just select the folder, oh, by the way, the keyboard shortcut is Command Shift A will deselect, okay? So select all, deselect. So now nothing is selected. You can see down here, there's nothing, it's blank. If you want, you can actually just bring in an entire folder. So I'll click on the folder and it's got 24 clips inside that folder. And so it will bring in the folder for me.
Will it keep it in its, like, will the folder be a bin?
Yeah.
That's really
so let's go back one to the point where I'll grab this folder, which then has folders inside it.
Okay. And as you're doing that, if there's any questions that people want to ask, feel free to add it into the chat. We're live, so we'd love to ask Jon some questions.
Yeah. There's a couple other options here that you can choose to use. You don't have to, but it's good to know that they're here. So at the top here, we can copy media from wherever the location is that the clips are coming from and we're looking at right now. So the camera that I'm using to do my webcam is actually a mirrorless camera and it records on SD cards. So I could put the SD card in and it would show up here on the left side. And I could start sampling and looking at those clips without moving the files. But that's not always the smartest way to go, because as soon as you take that card out, then the files are offline because you've basically removed the hard drive. So what you can do is copy the media and use a verification process to confirm that every single bit of the data is moved over and verified. And then it's going to now go to a specific location. So if that's the way that you work, you're shooting on these cards, put the card in, look at what you want, because you're not going to use everything that you shoot unless you're amazing at shooting and you just every shot's perfect, which that would be very cool. I'm not that good. I have a lot of takes. I have a lot of stuff that's rubbish. And so then you move it to a specific location, and then that becomes your working files drive location. So I can take the card out and everything's going to stay honky-dory.
Awesome. Hey, just a question that's just come through. Which verification do you recommend, Jon?
Well, you can do it without the verification, or you do it with the verification. So MD5 verification is a standard verification that qualifies that each kilobyte is actually confirmed to match its source and then the destination, and then it will close that the file is completed. You can do it without the verification.
Okay.
It's a little bit faster if you don't use the verification, because that's a scanning process.
Right.
It's probably not a bad idea to have it on, just to make sure that when you take that card out and you go, oh, I'm going to format the card now, and somehow the copy process, there was something not quite right with the transfer, you then can't go back and get it from the original.
You lose everything.
Yeah. So I highly recommend you use the verification.
Okay.
All right. Sweet. The other thing you can do is add a bin. So right now I'm importing a bin or a folder. But if I wanted to just do something that was, this is a clip by itself, I want to add it to a bin, I can name that and call that footage. I'm already starting to sort of tidy up what's going on inside of the project panel. So yeah, there's a few different options, and then obviously create the sequence. So I'll just, I'll turn off the bin bit, I'll turn off the copy, and I'll just add this one here, and we'll hit create, and bibbity bob, boom. So now I've got, this is the learn user interface.
Yeah, I've also noticed a couple of changes in here as well, at the top left especially.
Yes, there's definitely some changes up here, and we'll walk through that in a minute. So as I've gone through that import step, all of the files have come in, and then I've got a timeline already made for me. And notice that it's actually brought in the audio first, which is meant that timeline's a little goofy. So if something like that happens, don't stress, it's all good. What we'll do is we'll go back to the timeline here, the sequence that's sitting inside the panel, and a way to get there and make sure that you've got the right clip. So let's say that's deselected. There's nothing here selected. If you have the timeline open, you go to the contextual menu, which we talked about last time. And in here, you can reveal the sequence in the project. And what that does is it then highlights not just the panel, but the actual asset itself. So I'm going to delete that. Ding. And now we've got the empty space. And then I'm going to use my tilde key or the grav key in order to, it's the key that's under the escape key if you've got a US-based keyboard. Now you can see that option in here as well, in the contextual menu, where it is, let's see, it will be settings, maximize panel group. Boom. Okay. So that's just another way to get to it as opposed to using the tilde key. Yeah. A lot of people that are new like to use the mouse to find stuff. Yes. It's all right. It takes time to put some muscle memory and put the keyboard shortcuts in your fingers. We love keyboard shortcuts. Oh, they're the best. So what I'm going to do now is change this user interface to see the lovely pictures. And I'm going to start with, that's the clip I want there. And then I want to go to this one and so on and so forth, right? Then I'm going to pop that back down using that keyboard shortcut. And it's still got those bits selected. Okay. Okay, notice they're like a highlighted gray color. Yeah, so you all you did was minimize that panel, the project panel. Yes, they're still selected though. That's right. That's right. So I haven't lost the selection. Even if I change over to a different way of viewing, they're still selected. Brilliant. Yeah, cool. So this is what we did last time. I'm just going to click and drag over into this empty space. And now I have I have a timeline that actually looks correct as far as the size of the screen. So before it looked a little bit goofy, and that's because it favored the audio when I brought the folder in. So then it was like, I don't know what that is for a resolution of video. So it did some funny little things, but that's all right. We can fix all that stuff. Right. Good. Okay. We're kind of back to where we were in the other video that we made, the other live stream. So that's all good. And like I said, media browser still exists, and I'm going to use that keyboard shortcut again. So all that stuff you're used to doing it this way, still there, hasn't gone away. Still there.
Well, that's good, because at the end of the day, I think people get used to particular ways of working, right? And if something like that, I suppose, changes, then it could disrupt that person's flow and even not being able to navigate in the way that they're used to. But this purely just enhances the way in which people can work.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I just made a favorite, doing it the right-click way. And where's my NAB show? There we go. So, I've got files in here. There's a lot of folders. Demo assets, and so on and so forth. So yeah, navigating through all this stuff, you really want to have favorites.
I was about to say, why don't you favorite one?
Cooly dooly. All right, well, let's have a look at this HDR. Okay, so there's some HDR stuff in there. Color stuff. Okay, so go back a step, the color, right click, add to favorites.
Nice.
So it's a little bit different way of making your favorites list, but basically I've now got my auto color as part of the favorites.
And just to be clear, we're still in edit mode. I've known this import, edit, export, and we're now using the media management side of things as opposed to the import side of things. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. So I'll hit that grav/tilde key again to bring the user interface back down to the original design. And you can go back into import at any stage, right? So you just go back into here, and then you can be using this to just, jump back in. And notice I made that auto color favorite. I did that inside of media browser, but it knows at the import user interface that that's actually part of a list that I want to take advantage of. So
very handy.
It's kind of the same thing. It's just a different skin.
Yes.
And a different experience. Cool. Okay. So back into edit mode. All right. Export we'll look at in a second or two. But what I want to really focus in on is, we've got this user interface and the workspace is not quite what I want. I want to do something a little bit different here. I want to see things in a different way. Now, in the past, we used to have a list of them across the top here. They've gone. Where'd they go? That's not cool, Adobe. Don't take things away from me. All right, we haven't taken it away.
I'm a big user of workspaces. Where could I find that?
Okay, so we haven't taken it away. What we've done is we call this Chrome. We call this all flashy stuff that's just distracting. It's just distracting.
Yeah.
So we've tidied it up. Now, it's this little panel here. Click on that. Now you've got your list. Now I know some people are going to be like, I want to see it, and just click on it. Oh, all right. So what we did is gave people the ability to do that. So we've got two different ways. You can have labels or tabs. So the workspace, not place. Label tells you what it is that you're looking at. That's so it's really like, good. I don't know what I'm looking at. Okay, that was a bit of feedback we got as we were testing this user experience in the beta. We delayed rolling this experience out because people had this type of feedback, and these were some of the features that were put in place because of that feedback. All right, I want to know what my workspace is. Okay, learning, right? I can't click on it, can't make any changes. So the other option we put in is show workspace tabs. So now learning is highlighted and the other ones are in here, and I can actually grab this little guy and pull it out.
I like this.
Right? So that's kind of cool. And if I used the sideways scroll, so I'm on a trackpad here, so I'm using two fingers to scroll. I can scroll sideways and just keep looking through the long list of all the things that are there, right? So I've got my own workspace here. I'm going to click on that now, and bibbity bop, now I've got my workspace sitting in here. And something else has happened with the workspace.
Mm-hmm.
We now have Frame.io panel.
Yeah. So is that now part of Premiere? Is that...
It is.
It's not an extension, because I'm familiar with the extension of Frame, but now it comes with Premiere. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. Now, those of you playing at home, you won't have JB's demo Mac GUI. If you want it, then you hit me up and I'll share it to you. But what you will have is in the list, there'll be a new one, and it's going to be tagged for you as brand new. It'll say new next to it, this review user interface. And that's how you will first open up Frame.io. And notice it's just very clean. It's just the frame panel, program panel, and the source is tucked in there as well. The timeline and your content over here, like all the assets over there. Very clean. Now I worked with the team at Frame.io to make sure that everyone understood some of the key things that you must be seeing in order for this integration to work.
Yeah.
Now notice here it says continue with your Adobe ID. If you do the steps to get to this and you don't see that, it's because you have already got, based on your Adobe ID, the email that you use, based on that, you've already activated at some point a Frame.io account.
So that means the activation has been created through a different email. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Well, the same email that's my Adobe ID.
Yeah.
So in this case, I'm actually using my personal one. I'm not using my Adobe employee one. I'm using my personal one here because I wanted to simulate exactly what it's like for you at home. And when I signed in with that, I already had trial in there. So I wasn't getting this experience. Now the help pages will be updated with this because we worked through this today for you to then see that that's what you should be seeing. If you don't see it, what you need to do is contact Frame.io support and they will clean your account, and then you will see this user ID continue with Adobe ID will allow you to come in. Now,
and just a quick question, John, how could people contact Frame if that is the case?
They have a help thingy. So if you, let's say you jump into this bit and you're like, oh, I need to go to Frame. You can just go straight into Frame. Let me just, let me start a new one of these. A new window. All right, cool. So you can go to frame.io. That's their page. You jump into that and then support.
Perfect.
Just like that, right? And then I think if I stay in here for a little bit, there's like a little pop-up. Here we go. This little guy here. Ding. Hi there. And then you go, oh, I need some help. Send me a message. Can I get some help, please? They're very, very nice people there.
Nice.
And it's 24/7. So they've got people around the world that are helping out. So no stress. Once you have had your account cleared, I must strongly let you know that any content you have in there will also be removed.
Right. Good to know. So if you've previously created content and you're in the process of sharing, getting reviews, feedback, that will just disappear, it will be deleted.
That's right. So if you have had a paid account as well, again, that's going to go away. So here's what you would do. Now, there is a new application called Frame Transfer, and you can download it from their site. So let's go and have a look. Let's go back to their site. Just go back a step. Integrations. Here it is. Plug in and play. Now, this is a dedicated app that allows you to very quickly download and upload your content into your Frame.io storage. So there's an app for the Mac, and up until just recently, there wasn't one for Windows, but there is now. And I've confirmed it works.
So when you say your content, are you referring to content that's already in frame, or content that is stored locally or on hard drives?
So either way.
Okay.
In the context of you already have had Frame.io and you've got stuff that's in there because you had a paid account, and now you're like, well, maybe I don't need to pay for it because I didn't use a lot of it.
Yeah.
You actually get quite a lot of good stuff with your Creative Cloud subscription. So if you have Premiere or After Effects subscription or All Apps subscription, you actually get 100 gig of storage.
Oh.
And that's included, and that's part of your value add for being an Adobe subscriber.
So is that separate to any storage you might have with Creative Cloud?
Yes, it is. So the Creative Cloud files that you get, you might have 100 gig there. That's separate. This is another 100 gig that's inside the Frame.io cloud.
That's great.
And you can put any files in there. It will accept any kind of files. Can it natively read every single file? Not quite, but most.
Yeah.
So if you have had an account and you realize 100 gig, that's fine. You also get included 5 active projects. Let's have a look here. Where is it? I wanted to show you where it says what you get. Oh, here we go. This one here, learn more. Okay. So this is what you get included. Dun, 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 dun. You get to have 2 Frame.io users, which means you've got a collaborator that can see and access everything. They're not a reviewer. They're a person you creatively collaborate with. You get 5 concurrent projects that are active and working. You can archive them, so then you can go back to 4 active ones and then start another one. You get 100 gig of storage.
Yeah.
And you get access to Camera to Cloud. Now there's an app on your phone, on iOS at the moment only, it's not on Android yet, where you can actually record from your phone, and then it actually synchronizes into the Frame.io portal through the phone and uploads that content straight into the cloud.
So hold on. So Camera to Cloud. So are we talking, if I'm on site somewhere shooting something, whether let's say it's on my iPhone, I can have that feed directly into this project, and whoever's I've shared it with can access it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it can show up inside the panel inside of Premiere. It's instantly sends stuff up. Now there's unlimited apps that do it today.
Yeah.
It's been designed for Hollywood first. So there's some hardware that you would need. You can check that out here in the integration side if you scroll down a bit lower. So for those of you who are doing professional work, you might be familiar with some of these technologies. So they're third-party hardware apps, and the TerraDeck can have a cloud connection or an internet connection, and you have to register things. There's a couple different technical hoops you need to jump through, but basically you could be recording on cinema grade cameras and then having separate audio recordings, and then they all go up in the cloud, and then they get synchronized and create proxies for you.
Oh, so they create proxies. So this is pretty, when you think about it, this technology is pretty amazing, because let's say you got someone halfway across the world shooting something. How would you normally get that footage to them? They'd have to leave the shooting site that they're in, install the disc, the memory card, download it, upload it, share it, or physically take it to that person, which could take days, right? Hours.
Yeah, sometimes they'd actually send a hard drive.
Send a hard drive, exactly. I think I heard stories of that from some of our customers, during COVID. Yeah. So this is, I don't want to bang on about this too much. I want to, start doing some really cool stuff. But basically, they've done some tests, and I wonder if the Learn More has got a bit more information on this. So
in effect, what happens is the files that you have in the cloud, when you ask to pull them down, it does this thing where it kind of zips the files up and makes them smaller. So then when you download them, it downloads really quickly. And then when it lands on your machine, then it unzips them for you, and then you see the files. So it does it the reverse. So if you've got something that you need to put up into that Frame.io cloud, it will zip it and then push it up and then unzip it when it gets into the cloud. So it's very, very fast. It's probably the fastest transfer application out there.
That's pretty good to know. Definitely want to start utilizing that.
Yeah. And if you've got there's some places in the world that have 1,000 megabytes, it will use every single bit of megabits that you can use to push and pull, upload, download the files as well. And that's not super common. So this guy is saying, this is crazy. Just pull down a file at 900 megabits per second. That's mental. So very fast. Anyway. Okay. So yeah, just let's go back to Premiere. Just in case you're not seeing this, then you're not going to be getting access to all the juicy stuff. So let's go in and sign in now.
Let's have a look.
And I've already signed in, so it's oh wow, hello, you're welcome back. And it gives you a demo project, so you actually get to play around with something that's already up there. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to play around with something that's already up there. So if you look here, it's got the demo project. I can add more projects inside of here. What I might do is actually see if I can make this screen a bit bigger. So I'm going to use the contextual menu to do this, because this panel is still being developed. It's not 100% compatible with the keyboard shortcut.
Oh, I see. The tilde key?
Yeah, still not 100%. So I'm going to go that way and make it big. And then we can start seeing what's going on in here. Let's see. I've got here, there's a folder with stuff in there. So if I double click on that, now I can see I've got some JPEGs, I've got PNG, and I've got a TIFF. So there's quite a few different sort of file types in there that are images.
But it supports, right? That's really good.
Yeah. So if I double click on that, I can look at that in a big view. So when you do video stuff, you tend to have photos in there as well. You want to be able to see, oh, okay, someone else put that up and that's what I want to get. Let's go back and have a look at some video related stuff. Oh, there's pre-production stuff in here too. Handy. Oh, let's look at this audio. All right. I'm hoping it's not going to be super loud.
Let's find out.
Like. So if I hit play, I should be able to hear it.
I don't hear that.
You don't hear it?
No. Do you hear it?
Ooh, I'm hearing it, but it's actually a very cool sounding track. Let's see if I can get the audio to come through.
While you're doing that, I've just noticed on that the clip down the bottom, it says leave your comment here, but it's even got little, what are they, markers or little avatars, it looks like?
Yeah, actually, you're right. It's an avatar of different users that have been invited to review and add comments. And then that's the marker, but the color and the picture, which is pretty small at this point, relates to who it is. So,
right. So the collaborator.
Yeah.
So if it was shared between you and me and you've sent me this, I can then go in and use that and then make my own comments, and then you'll receive that on the timeline that's marked, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right. I'm trying to figure out how to do share audio. I'll tell you what, let's stop sharing my screen for a second. I'll stop sharing the screen and then I will activate that mode again because I want to hear the audio. General. Oh.
So just as you're doing that as well, we've got about 20 minutes to go, and just a prompt for anyone on the line. ask us any questions, especially about frames. This is pretty exciting stuff, what we're seeing here, because, you know, it's just been integrated into Premiere. We want to see how it will, you know, how people will use this and how much time it will save people. Yeah.
This is interesting. I can't figure out how to make it stop sharing when I've taken.
That's all right. Let's not stop sharing.
Away. Cool. It does play the audio and it sounds great.
We believe you, John. We believe you.
All right. So I can press these little icons here, and when I hover the mouse over the top, it gives the person's name and it gives a description of what it is that they're saying at that point in time. So it says, are the drums too loud? I can click and go to that point and then play it and hear it in context. Now, audio, okay, it's not a very visual kind of thing. So let's go and find something that's got more visuals to it. So I can see comments-wise, there's a little icon here that indicates 4 bubbles, talk bubbles. So this has had 4 comments. This one's had 7 comments. So let's double click onto this one and have a look.
As you're doing that, we've just had a question come through from Misty. Does it show the comments as well when you click on the picture of that person?
That's an excellent question. So what I'm going to do is actually go back to the view. Actually, you know what? Let's stay here. So we're in the panel that's integrated into Premiere. If you go to the browser, it's similar, but you get a little bit more features inside of the browser view. Okay.
So more functionality?
A little bit. So what I'm going to do is call out how this works when it's inside the panel in Premiere. So you hover over and then you see what it is they've said. If I click on it, it stays there as well, but that's because my mouse is over the top. As soon as I move my mouse over it, away from it, the little talk bubble isn't there now.
So
but I am getting...
Yeah, so the person who's marked this up has done this using some sort of tools, right?
Yes, they have. And we'll walk through that in a second. So what am I looking at though? I'm like, I got a bunch of squares and rectangles. I don't know. But if I read what it says these shadows are really harsh. Let's brighten them up a bit. Oh, that makes sense now. I have context. So the comment by itself, without the visuals, probably would have been a bit hard for me to understand what are you talking about. And so it really helps to have these visual guides. So let's have a look here. I want to leave a comment here. Well, that's obviously just a test, right? Emery, this shot's a little desaturated. What are you talking about, Emery? Let me see. Click. Oh, yeah, you're right. It is very desaturated. That almost looks like it's in log. So it doesn't have contrast, doesn't have a lot of saturation. So, okay, I get what they're talking about. What's John got to say? Let's tone the reds down. He's starting to look a little pink. Yeah, he is. What I
love about this, what you're showing, is this would previously be in some sort of email, wouldn't it? You know, it just doesn't give context, but because this is live inside of Premiere, you can see that. Just before you shut that down, I got a question for you. Just exit out of that menu there. So what? Just up in the top left, next to the arrow, there's a little speech bubble. So show comments.
That goes to the comments. So I can just click through the comments, and you'll notice that it's very small, but that is actually updating the visual point in time that's relative to the point in time that the comment was made. So the first one here, I want to leave a comment. Oh, that was the most recent one, right? So Emery.
And it looks like there's a little checkbox on the right.
There is. So as you're working, let's see, Sam Seeley, if I click on this, notice it says a hover, it says mark complete. Wow. So if I was to tick that, Sam is going to get a notification saying that me, who's signed in, because that's how it knows who is who, because you sign in, I've marked that I've completed it. So then he can go back and check a new reviewed version and go, okay, you did complete that. All right, that's fair.
So does that mean that you don't have to export your video out again?
Well, it depends. So if it's something that's like, I want to leave a comment here, There's nothing really visually to change. Then I can just say, yeah, okay, that's fine. But you do want to be able to add stuff on top and do what's called versioning.
Right.
So let's have a look at how the version stuff works. This clip does have a version stacked on top, and I know that because it's got a number 2 here. So if I double click onto it, in the top, I've got full spot graded MP4 V2. Now, if I click on that, I can go back and look at version 1, and that's going to be another version of it where there's no grade at all in this case, and there's no comments either. So the comments live with the version that you share out.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I got a question about versions.
Yeah.
So let's say you go through just a lot of iterations, a lot of changes. You're up to version 8, right?
Yep.
Does that mean that there are 8 versions of the video in the cloud taking up that storage?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. One thing to note though with storage is the proxies that are auto-generated, they don't eat up part of your storage. So the original files that you put in, that's the calculation of the storage that you use.
Awesome. We've got about 7 minutes or so to go.
All right, cool.
Again, well, call out anyone who wants to type any questions.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a quick trim here. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, bang, bang. I don't want a minute. I just want like 10 seconds worth. There we go. That'll do. And delete that and delete that. Okay, cool. Very short. We're just going to do a quick example of how to upload your own stuff. So let's go to the back arrow, back to the project. I'm going to start a new project here. I'll call this demo time. Just hit create. So now I've got this list. I've got demo project, demo time.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there. So this active timeline is something I can directly upload the active sequence.
Awesome.
Now there's a couple other things that you can do as well. You can actually upload the project file, the Premiere project file that I'm currently working in can also be pushed into the cloud storage. The bins that I have, the files that I have inside here, they can also all be pushed in there. So you can share the entire thing off to someone else.
That's great.
That's pretty cool. I'm going to use the active sequence right now. That's the name of it, Roof TL. You can rename it if you like.
Yeah.
You've got different presets. You can actually add your own presets as well. So if you make some inside of Media Encoder, you can just save them out somewhere and then locate them and add them in. In this case, we're going to go with just 720, so it's a little bit quicker to get up. The whole sequence, or we've got in-out ranges, etc., etc. Where's it going to go? So you've got to set a location. I've already done that. And you just go and select where it is that you render the file locally, then it gets sucked up into the cloud. You can do a couple other things like add a comment inside. So right here, I'm going to add a comment and just say my name, so JB. Then I'm going to put the comment in the comments panel and say, what do you think? Question mark. And I'm going to give it a range. Actually, I'm going to go the entire way. So here we go. Oh, nice. That's a bit too long. Woolly dooly.
That's all right.
Let's just shrink that down. Snap. Okay, so that's the whole thing. Auto version, we'll leave that on and we'll see how that works. So let's upload this bad boy. It's going to launch Media Encoder in the background and it's going to run the export process by itself. Well, that was quick.
Wow, very quick. 10-second clip, right?
10-second clip, exactly. Let's go back to Premiere and we can see that it's actually doing the upload has already happened and it's generating the thumbnail. And notice it's given me an icon saying there's one comment and another icon that says, well, it's actually linked to a sequence. This is cool. So if I double click on this and notice there's this button here, unlink playheads. So as I'm watching this, it's got, there we go. So that's my account is called Chinwag. What do you think? And then as I hit play, watch what happens here in the timeline of my creative timeline. Watch this. Oh,
wow.
Hello. What's happening there? it's actually staying in sync.
In sequence, yeah, in sync, yeah. So if you shared that with me and I made a comment, would it bounce to that particular point in time? Yeah,
it would. It absolutely would. So there's different ways where you can share. So when you work with this included stuff, you can't just like share to a specific invitation. So you get like a public shared thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to have privacy, then that's where you start going into the paid model and that sort of thing. So if I copy this link, and I'm actually going to go into, let's see, Teams. So you and I have got this chat going on in the background. Oh, where did it go?
Oh,
I've lost it.
You want to share me a link?
I lost it. Yeah, I'm going to share you a link. So let's just get rid of that bit there. And in the chatty chats.
The chatty McChat. I like that.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to paste that there and send that. So that's just gone through whatever it is. It's email, it's Facebook, chat, it's whatever, right? It's a link. And then let's see, I'll go back out of this.
I've got it on my end.
Okay, cool. So can you like add a comment just somewhere in the middle? And we'll see how real time this is.
All right, let's have a look. Well, for the moment, it doesn't seem like I have the functionality to do that. I've just got, you've just shared. Maybe it's like a share for commenting.
Oh, it might just, you're right. I think you're right. So what we're going to do, this is kind of not such a bad thing anyway. We're actually going to go to the browser. Where are you, buddy? Oh.
So we've got about 3 minutes to go, just an FYI.
All right, cool. So we'll let you do that in the background and I'll show the export, this new export thing. Yeah. So share, right? I'm going to share for review. Okay, so I'm going to copy that link. Done. Now I'm going to share that to you.
Got it.
Hang on. Shared. Okay, cool. So we'll come back to this in a second. Let's go back to the export user interface. This has been revamped, completely brand new. If you're used to seeing the previous version, it had not changed for a very long time, and it was kind of tricky to navigate. Now it's cleaner. If you need to go in and customize any of the video related things, then you can click in here, and everything that you might have needed access to create your own custom ways that it's working. It's all in there. It's tidier, much tidier.
So much better. Look at that. You can even export out to social media.
Yeah, so you could do that, but it was a different tab and a lot of people didn't realize it was there, and now it's exposed. So with the, say for YouTube, you can actually pre-sign in and then look at your channel and whatever playlists you might have inside of your account. You can start populating it with like different descriptions and titles and all that sort of stuff. And then it gets pushed into your YouTube account directly from Premiere Pro. That's pretty cool.
That's really good. That's a definite time saver when it comes to that, because you're just publishing, not only are you publishing, but you're exporting out directly from Premiere.
Yeah. So one of the other things that I wanted to just sort of point out too is you would normally just export out to one location if you're going to do a direct export. If you wanted to do multiple export locations, you kind of had to go into Media Encoder. You don't need to now. So this ellipsis, this 3 dots up here, you can add another destination. And then use a different preset. So I'm going to turn it on.
Fantastic.
And then I go, well, you know what? I actually want to do a QuickTime version of this, blah, blah, blah. And I want it to go to a different location. So now these 2 media files that are turned on, and you'll see that that's QuickTime for this one. And then this one's H.264. You can customize this stuff and it remembers them too.
That's fantastic. So much of a time saver. We are nearly at time.
All right,
that link that you sent me actually didn't work either, but hey, it does work, and I'm really keen to explore that further. Perhaps we'll do another future session, JB.
Well, what I'll do is I'll add in another one. Let's just do let's hit play quick. Okay, so in there I can start typing in a new one, new, and then there's a paintbrush. And on the paintbrush, I can use a paintbrush to draw or use a box.
Yeah, look at that.
Change the color and maybe put some arrows in. This thing here, that's what I'm talking about.
That's
and
fantastic.
Then hit go. And then now I've got a new notch. So I can jump to it. And that's what you mean. This is the actual creative. That's awesome. Okay, I'll fix this up. Then I'm going to do another version of it. So upload, active sequence. You saw how fast it was before. Auto versions. And then you hit upload.
And then it will go to whoever it's shared with.
Watch what it did there. It actually had a second clip, and then it went, it's come from the same timeline. It just went, and
I'm gonna
converted.
I'm gonna have to cut you off, mate. I'm so sorry. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's been great. I want to see more, JB. Let's do another session. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, you guys are up.